In 1776, 13 British colonies declared independence from the most powerful empire on Earth. It wasn't just rebellion, it wasn't just taxes, and it certainly wasn't inevitable. The American Revolution was the result of financial pressure, imperial strategy, political miscalculation, and global war dynamics already in motion. So the real question is not why did America revolt? The deeper question is, why did Britain lose? To understand the revolution, we have to begin before 1776. In 1763, the British Empire emerged victorious from the 7 Years' War, a global conflict that stretched from Europe to North America and India. Britain defeated France and gained vast territories, but victory came at a cost. The war had nearly doubled Britain's national debt. London faced a serious financial problem: how to secure and administer its expanded empire without collapsing under debt. The British government believed the American colonies, which had benefited from British military protection, should contribute more to imperial defense. From London's perspective, this was logical. From the colonies' perspective, it was unconstitutional. The issue was not simply taxation, it was representation. Colonial assemblies had long managed local taxation. Now Parliament, where colonists had no elected representatives, imposed measures like the Stamp Act and townshend duties. The slogan, "No taxation without representation," was not just rhetoric. It was a constitutional argument rooted in British political tradition. The colonies did not initially demand independence. They demanded recognition of rights as English subjects. That distinction matters. Tensions escalated gradually and then rapidly. In 1770, the Boston Massacre intensified anti-British sentiment. In 1773, the Tea Act triggered the Boston Tea Party, where colonists destroyed East India Company tea shipments. Britain responded with the Coercive Acts, closing Boston Harbor and limiting colonial self-governance. From London's perspective, this was about restoring order. From the colonies' perspective, it was proof of tyranny. By 1775, open conflict began at Lexington and Concord. What followed was not a spontaneous uprising. It was a structured military campaign. The Continental Congress appointed George Washington as commander-in-chief, a strategic choice. Washington was not only experienced, he was from Virginia, helping unify northern and southern colonies. Britain underestimated the logistical challenge of fighting across the Atlantic. Supply lines stretched thousands of miles. Communication took weeks. Meanwhile, colonial forces adopted asymmetric strategies, avoiding large-scale direct confrontations when possible. But the turning point was international. In 1777, the American victory at Saratoga convinced France that the rebellion had potential. In 1778, France formally entered the war. This transformed a colonial rebellion into a global conflict. Spain and the Dutch Republic would later join against Britain. Now Britain was fighting on multiple fronts: Europe, the Caribbean, India, and North America. The revolution was no longer just American, it was geopolitical. The American Revolution reshaped global power structures. Britain lost 13 colonies, right, but it did not collapse. Instead, it recalibrated its imperial strategy, focusing more heavily on India and maritime dominance. France, despite helping secure American victory, suffered financially from war expenditures. Within a decade, France would face its own revolution. The United States emerged as an independent republic, but it was fragile. The Articles of Confederation created a weak central government. Internal instability led to the Constitutional Convention of 1787. The revolution did not immediately create stability. It created a power vacuum that required structural redesign. Globally, the revolution proved something significant. An empire could be challenged successfully if geopolitical conditions aligned. But it also showed that independence movements are rarely isolated events. They are often influenced by larger strategic rivalries. The American Revolution was not simply about liberty. It was about power redistribution in the Atlantic world. By 1783, Britain formally recognized American independence in the Treaty of Paris. A new republic had emerged. But consider this: if France had not intervened, if Britain had reformed taxation policy earlier, if imperial communication had been faster, would the revolution still have succeeded? Was independence inevitable? Or was it the product of timing, debt, and global rivalry? History is often presented as destiny, but more often it is the result of pressure applied at the right moment. What do you think? Was the American Revolution a fight for liberty, or a strategic realignment of global power.